Hello everybody. This is Monty with Flowers by the Bunch. Happy Thursday. I hope you are having a wonderful afternoon. So I told you that I hoped that we would do a little bit of party work, but I was running behind and I have to make a casket piece that needs to go out in the morning. So that's what I'm going to do for you this afternoon is a casket piece. It's for a lady, so it's in shades of pink, pretty pink flowers. When you come on, tell us hello, tell us how you're doing this afternoon. Tell us where you're from. We love to know that. And I am going to get started. I do have Victoria here with me. So if you have any questions or any comments, please ask those and I'll try to answer as we go along. So I'm starting out, this is called a double casket saddle. And why we call it a double is because there are 2 blocks of Oasis attached to this casket saddle. I have taped it really well. And before I attached the Oasis to the saddle, I soaked that Oasis. So what that means is I went ahead and added water to the Oasis. A lot of people have asked, do you soak the Oasis before you start arranging? And absolutely yes. You always soak your floral foam before you start adding flowers to it. So I've got that soaked and ready. I'm going to start out with some jade, just like I did for the spray last night. I'm going to start out with just jade. And I have got my trusty knife. And all I'm going to do is go ahead and start greening out this arrangement. I'm going to hand Victoria my ribbon. And I'm going to start just greening out this arrangement. So this is what we would call our extra large casket piece. So I've actually already arranged the 2 standing sprays, which I feel like took all afternoon, but it was strictly because I was waiting on customers and I was answering phones and all the things. But we sell our funeral arrangements in sets, funeral sets. I'm going to slide this table up just a little bit because I'm touching the background. So what that means when I tell you we sell flowers in a set is we sell the casket cover and 2 matching standing sprays. And I'll take a picture of all 3 pieces together so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. But now I am going to match this casket piece to the 2 standing sprays that I've already made. That was loud. So you can see all I'm doing is just taking this jade and I'm covering the Oasis. I'm dropping greenery in the floor. It takes about, for this size spray, it takes about 3 bundles of the jade. Sorry, I'm so quiet. Any questions, Miss Victoria? Is anybody saying hello, where they're from today?
No questions yet.
No questions? No, I'm sorry y'all seen this before.
We have a lot of hellos.
Hello. We have been so busy today. It has been a wonderful holiday so far. Lots and lots of orders for all these wonderful mamas. I've got Robbie, Callie, and Victoria have been designing all day long, making flower arrangements. Jason's been delivering all over, and Owen and I have been taking orders, and I've been working on a little bit of funeral work, and he's been waiting on customers. So we've just been busy, which is a wonderful thing. We're so thankful. Thankful to be busy, but I tell you, we'll be thankful to have a little downtime on Sunday. To sit still for a minute.
Miss Angela asks, do you prefer wedding or funeral work more?
Miss Angela, honestly, this sounds probably terrible. I prefer funeral work all day long. And it's because the customer is often not nearly as picky for a funeral as they are a wedding. And a funeral's quick. It's not long and drawn out like a wedding. Now, I like to do the work. I don't mind doing either one. But funeral work to me is so much easier. You don't have to work quite as hard to make the sale. They come in, they usually know what they want, and then you make something beautiful for them. And it's quick. It's quick, so that's great.
Miss Teresa asks, do you ship arrangements?
Like fresh arrangements? No, Miss Teresa, we don't. And honestly, we've just never had really a call to ship artificial. We could certainly figure out how to do that, but we never have done that. But we would be happy to figure it out. Now, with fresh flowers, I wouldn't try to ship a fresh flower arrangement. I would just feel like no telling what it would go through before it got to you. And so I don't believe that it would be too pretty when it got there. Okay, so it's greened out with my jade. Now I'm going to spray it with some plant shine. And all this is doing is just cleaning that greenery up and just shining that foliage. Next, I am going to tie a bow. Excuse me. I got choked for a second. I'm going to tie a bow. So this family asked for ribbon in this piece. So I am going to tie a bow to add to the center of this arrangement. And so it's shades of pink, so we're going with 2 shades of pink ribbon.
Miss Angela says, I love funeral work more too. It's very rhythmic and therapeutic.
It is, and it's just easy. And I don't know, it's just easy. It's not, funeral work always brings a little bit of sunshine. Whereas weddings, they're so stressed and they're so worried and it's all so complicated. And I don't like the complication of wedding. I have never been one that wanted to work with brides exclusively because that's too much. It's too much work. I don't know how people do it. It's a lot of work to work with brides all the time because they are so picky and so over crazy about the right shade of rose or all of those kind of things. And funeral work's not at all. Funeral work is they just want it pretty.
Miss Anita and Miss Jones also say they love funeral work.
Yes, I like funeral work. I agree. Well, and I have had people say, well, isn't it too sad to do funeral work? Well, for me personally, this is a tribute to their life. And it's something that I feel like it's the last thing you can do for someone. And people don't walk into a funeral home. They look for flowers. I always think flowers are so important because how sad would it be if you didn't have any flowers in the funeral? So I've always thought that it's something to me that's very important. Okay, so not everybody chooses to have a bow in their casket piece, but this family asked that we put ribbon. Honestly, I like to put ribbon, and it's strictly because it helps me fill up the space. It helps fill up any negative space that's real green. So that's why I like ribbon. But it's very traditional and very old school. So it's not for everybody, and that's completely okay. Well, I think I just pulled my stick off.
Mispronounce your name, I'm so sorry. Miss Angelia.
Oh, that's a pretty name.
Yes. She asks if those are real leaves.
These are real leaves. Yes, ma'am. All of this is fresh. So yes, ma'am, they are real fresh greenery. All right, so I'm going to come in next with my line flower. I always like to do line next. So I've got Bells of Ireland.
Miss Anita asks, have you ever used a discarded stem rather than wooden picks?
Yes, 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 yes. Very often. The only thing, and we do that a lot with flower arrangements in the back when we're making just a pretty cut arrangement. The only thing with using them here is I needed it to grip onto that bow. But yes, very much. We will save stems. A lot of times, Solidago is a really good stem to use for a wood pick or, you know, a pick to put your bow into an arrangement.
Miss Sheila Flynn sent 100 stars.
Oh, Miss Sheila, thank you so much. Thank you.
Miss Joan asks, which do you prefer, traditional work or more modern work in floristry?
Okay, so in Mississippi, our customers really like traditional more than they like more modern, or my customers like more traditional than modern. Now, I enjoy modern. I really do. And a lot of times they'll just let us be creative. So it really just depends. I like both. I just like making flowers. I'm not real picky.
Miss Judy Roder asks, what do you mean when you say do my line? Do your line flower.
What do you line flower. So what I'm doing is I'm adding line flower first. So Bells of Ireland is called a line flower because it's just a straight line, right? Not really, it's kind of a crooked line, but it's a line. And so I'm adding the lines first, and what that's doing is it's giving me the dimensions. So it's showing me, and it's hard for you to see. I'm going to move this table back. Can I do that? It's hard for them to see this whole arrangement. I'm going to scoot you guys back just a smidge so that you might be able to see this whole arrangement better. Yeah. Okay. So you see, that was Miss Judy. You see, Miss Judy, where I've put the line flowers, and what that's done is it's kind of telling me the dimensions. So it's kind of showing me where the other flowers are going to go. Next, I'm going to come in with some of these peach-colored mums. But the thing is that this family wanted this piece to be shades of pink. Now, I think that this peach would work as a shade of pink, but I'm going to pop it very, very, very slightly with this pink glow. Now, if I pop it too much, if I spray it too much, it's going to be as pink as this can, and this can is not a true flower color. So I am just going to very softly add a touch of pink to that flower. So and I don't know in that video if you can see it very well, but what it did was it just put a little hint of pink. So I'm going to add the mums next.
Miss Melissa said you made the bow so easily earlier.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I've had a lot of practice on bows.
Miss Letha asks, are bows hard to make?
Yeah, they're not easy, Miss Letha. It just takes practice. I have been making bows for 25 years, so for me, yes, it's easy. But it's not easy. It just takes time. Would you say, Victoria, you're the one who's learned more recently than I have to make a bow? Do you think when you were making a bow that was just a hard task, or?
I think once I got it wasn't as bad. I will say wired ribbon is so much easier, and I enjoy doing those bows. I do not nearly enjoy as much doing
that kind of ribbon.
Yes, the satin. That is not. I do not really enjoy that.
And you still don't enjoy that, do you?
Yeah, it's just a lot harder, and it's you can't manipulate the ribbon as easily.
Right.
And so.
Now I will tell you the worst ribbon, the worst bow to make is red velvet. That's the hardest. Did you ever make any at Christmas? Did I ever? Did you do any red velvet? Well, it's a heavy ribbon, so it's a thick ribbon. Now that's the hardest bow to make, in my personal opinion. But yeah, for me personally, it's not hard, but it's all just because I've done it so long. It's just kind of like me making this flower arrangement. It's almost second nature. I mean, I don't really think about it, I just do it. That makes sense?
I think if anything, it's gotten easier. It's just that I just don't like it.
Yeah, it's just one of the tasks you don't love. Yeah.
At least for that.
But now I will say, you've gotten so much better. You know, at first they were so tight and so tiny that it took you a long time to finally get that it didn't have to be, the little loops didn't have to be so snug together. We've got 8 bells of Ireland in this arrangement.
So you took Michael that last week.
Miss Angela said, I tried your tip this week of punching out the tips of the bells to straighten them, and it worked.
Did it work? Great! Great!
Miss Gloria says, always working. How long is your work day?
Oh, Miss Gloria, normally it's not but about 7.5, 8 hours, sometimes a little longer. Now, I will say I like what I do. And so for me, most of the time I don't feel like it's work. Like I'll go home at night, I'll cook supper usually in the evenings, and then I'll go out and sit, when it's nice outside, I'll go out and sit on the back porch and I'll work on social media and different things like that. So really, like my work hour at the shop normally is from 9 to 4, and then we do videos in the afternoon. So 9 to 5, 9 to 5:30, would you say? And then I go home and sit and piddle on working with my social media stuff. Now, I will say during Memorials and Mother's Day, I've been coming in about 7:30. Monday night I went home at 9. Last night I went home about 7. It just depends. You got to get it all done. And so that's what I'm here for. You know, it's just one of those things that, but I love what I do. So really, now I will say I'm tired. I will say that. And my feet have gotten to where my feet hurt. So, but I got some good shoes, and so I'm good to go. But yes, that's why I said I'll be glad when Sunday gets here, because I am ready for a little bit of rest. I've got Micah Thomas playing on a soccer field on Sunday, so we'll have to go to Clinton to watch Micah play ball. So that'll be nice. I'll sit still, but I tell you what I'll do is I'll go to sleep. If I sit down, I go to sleep because my off button is on my bottom, or that's what my mama says. And it is, I tell you, if I sit down, I'll go to sleep. Moms, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 moms. All right, so I have lots. Oh, lilies. Let's put some lilies in it. I've got those double lilies. Look how pretty those are. They're amazing. And they smell pretty. Now, this is 2 heads of lilies, so I am actually going to separate them. I'm taking just a pair of scissors, and I'm just separating them. I'm going to pop them with just a little tiny bit of pink. Just so that they're not quite as harsh in that white.
Miss Anita says, we bought individual fatigue mats at workstations. They really helped.
Really? Well, I will tell you that we probably should do that. We are on conventional foundation, and we have wooden floors. And so my floors aren't really bad. It's just I have, is it called plantar fasciitis? And what that is, it's all due to standing on my feet. But what it causes is the tendon in your foot shortens. And so it feels like almost like I have a bruise on the bottom of my heel. And then I also have restless leg syndrome. So at home, when I get home at night, my legs want to just tingle. And ache, but that's just from standing on my feet, and it's usually more depends on how busy we've been or how long I've stood on my feet. But I got some good shoes. I got Hokas, and let me tell you, if you have foot pain, go and purchase Hokas because they're wonderful. Now, are they pretty? Not really. You don't look cute, but They sure do help with foot pain.
Miss Linda says, well, you deserve a great Mother's Day. You make so many moms happy with your arrangement.
Oh, thank you. I tell you, I have a wonderful team back here. They are wonderful and great help, and I couldn't do it without them.
Miss Angie asks, is there any flowers you don't like to work with?
Oh, Victoria, are there any flowers we don't like to work with? I don't like Matsumoto aster. Actually, I despise it. What else? I don't really not like flowers, any certain flower.
Stock.
Jason, I like stock. You don't like stock. Jason had to stick his head around the corner and say we don't like stock. He doesn't like stock.
Tell them why.
Well, it just looks wilty. Why don't you come tell them why?
Fools people.
This is wax flower. This is pretty pink wax flower.
It's my favorite.
It's your favorite. It is. Victoria said, I prayed for wax flower. Like, well, you could tell the person who orders and she would order you some. But the Lord must have known. Because Donna called and said, you want some wax flower? I said, yes, please. And that's because you prayed for it. So, Victoria, I put in 1, 2, 3 stems of lilies. 3 stems of lilies.
Miss Angela says magnesium spray is great for restless leg syndrome.
Really? Okay, so tell me about it. What is magnesium spray?
Oh, and Miss Kim says for restless legs, I use a botanical magnesium lotion. It helps so much.
Really? Really? Okay, so what I've always done is I will take a really warm bath and a couple of Advil, and if I take that warm bath and go straight to bed, I'll go to sleep pretty quickly, and so it'll kind of subside. I don't really have too many issues. But they will worry me to death, so I will certainly try that. Thank you for the tips.
Magnesium is
Magnesium.
the key. Magnesium.
Yeah, both of them. Yeah, we'll try that. Remember that, Victor. Write that on our little note right there, because that will not stay in my head.
Miss Letha asks, what kind of shoes did you get?
They're called Hokas, Hoka, and they're not pretty. Yeah, they're not pretty. These are a dark blue. Now, I will just tell you that I personally don't love tennis shoes. I don't love me in tennis shoes. I am fine with everybody else and their brother wearing tennis shoes. I just don't like me in them. And I will tell you this, that it doesn't matter. You wear your tennis shoes because they make your feet feel better. All right, so I am going to tuck in all these roses, and I have 3 shades of roses.
Miss Judy asks, do you already take the pollen out of the lilies?
These lilies actually do not have pollen in them. Strangest thing ever. But these lilies, this rose lily, does not have the pollen.
Do you know how many stems of wax?
3 stems of wax.
Miss Sheila says, I do not like tennis shoes either.
Well, and the thing, it's so funny because they don't bother me on anybody else. You know, I've always just been weird about them on me. I have learned that I am not worried about that. I cannot worry about it. Because I am old and my feet hurt. But everybody I've talked to says, you look fine in tennis shoes, and I know I probably do, but I think it's a me thing.
Miss Angela says, add magnesium salts to your bath.
Okay, I will. I so will do it. And it will probably make my feet feel better too. I like that little piece of greenery.
Miss Anya Hutchinson says, I wear memory foam Skechers. My other half bought them for my birthday last year. Definitely recommend.
Really? Okay. Now, I have worn Skechers sandals, and usually, I always did better in the summertime with my feet than I did in the wintertime. And in the summertime, I had Skechers, and I've had can't even remember the other name brands, but I always have good sandals. And I've not had nearly as nearly the issues with my feet in the summertime, but because I have this plantar fasciitis, it's even hard to wear. Like, I came to work in my sandals one Saturday, and that was 2 hours. And in those 2 hours, I was like, I cannot even put my feet on the floor. Like, it's almost like burning. But since I've started wearing these tennis shoes, it's so much better. It really is much better.
Miss Tracy says, that's all I wear are sneakers. And she says she wears, where'd it go? The New Balance tennis shoes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And I've worn I tell you, until I had to start wearing them, I never really wore them.
Steve says he loves this casket piece.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you. It's very pink. Very pink. And I have, if you see me, all you see me do is cut these stems and stick them in. They've all been pre-wired because I have 60 stems of roses and I didn't want to have to wire them in front of you. That was going to take too long. Making a mess in the floor.
They have a lot of tennis shoes stored.
Oh, do they? Yeah, I thought I was the only person that didn't like me in tennis shoes. I've come to realize that it's just a personal preference. I know it's silly. Because I know nobody's looking at me thinking, she's wearing tennis shoes. Look at those tennis shoes. Nobody's thinking that but me.
How many of those daisies?
3. This right there. And right there. Okay, and then I'm going to come in with a little bit of dragon. So I've got some pretty green dragon. And so this is going to soften it up.
You having more wax too?
Not much, like a stem. I kind of broke it up.
Steve Michael asks, anyone wear Crocs? No, a lot of nurses that do.
Now I will say, I just can't stand the way they look. Lots of people wear them and they love them. I just can't wear them. I can't do it. But I know that they're comfortable. I've actually had Croc sandals and Croc flip-flops, but I tell you my problem is they're so plastic that they rub. They've rubbed my feet. Maybe I have sweaty feet. I don't know, but they tend to always rub. And I've had the little Mary Jane Crocs. I have had those. But like I said, they rub me. So the traditional Crocs I can't wear just because I don't like the way they look. But I'm telling you, it's really a me thing. I'm just weird. And I will tell you I'm weird. And I don't mind them on other people. It's just me.
Our Miss Margaret says that is absolutely spectacular.
Thank you, Miss Margaret. Thank you so much.
Miss Tammy says, beautiful. Are you putting them in Oasis foam or just regular floral foam?
They're Oasis foam. It's wet foam.
She also asks, or have they come up with something new for casket arrangements that keeps the flowers fresh longer?
No, ma'am, just the same old. If they I know that they have come up with some. It's like a peat moss that you can do, but I tell you the problem with it, and it would be wonderful, but the problem is it's not cost effective. Like the cost of the piece itself, it's just too hard to make any money and to make it as nice as it needs to be for the price it needs to be at. But they do have some, they're kind of neat looking. They're little bags that you can put into like a casket saddle. But they were really, really pricey when I looked at them. But I would love the opportunity to be able to use something like that. But when they overshadow, when the cost is too high, it's hard to, and it's just the mechanics that's hard. Okay, so next I'm just going to put some spring rye. Nope, asparagus fern. I want to always call it spring rye, but it's asparagus fern. So this is just pretty asparagus fern.
Miss Cindy White says hello from Troy, Illinois. So beautiful, and sent 200 stars.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
There's several other people that say they're not too big fans of the Crocs.
Of the Crocs. Well, and I tell you, I know it's a me thing because they don't bother me on others. If you like them, wear them. I just can't do it. And like I said, they just blister. I don't know, they rub. And I have not worn the traditional, but the sandals just rub. Ouch, that bites so bad.
How much dry did you put?
I put 3 stems. They were those big old stems.
Miss Lisa says, a lovely arrangement. Love the deep pink roses. They add a lovely contrast to the paler roses.
Thank you. Go in, friend. Please don't bite me. So you have to always be careful with asparagus fern and spring rye. They bite. They have little thorns and they bite. And then for 3 days your fingers will be sore where they got you. And that is no fun. All right. So have we got it? We're there, shouldn't we be?
How much is it for the fern?
I think I put $5 in. We might be slightly over, but we should be right there. All right, guys, there it is. I don't know if you can see the whole piece, but it really turned out pretty. So you can see how this bow doesn't really look, it's hard to see the bow in the video, which is great because I don't want it to look like it's a big present, okay? I don't ever want, when you're making an arrangement like this, you don't want a bow sitting right on top because you don't want it to look like a gift. Often when you wrap a present has a big bow sitting on top. Anytime you're making an arrangement, you want to nestle it down into the flowers. So for me, what that does is it fills in that space so you don't see all of the dark void. And that's why I like to use ribbon in a piece, is because it helps with any of the voided spots, any of the dark spots. But I think it turned out pretty. I love the asparagus fern tucked in because it gives it such a dramatic look. It's hard to see on this black table, but it really gives it such a dramatic look, and I love that. Guys, thank you so much for coming here this afternoon and being here with us. I don't know what I'll do tomorrow, but we'll figure it out. I'm so glad you're here. I hope you have a wonderful evening. If you would, give us a thumbs up or a heart so that people can see us, and be sure to sprinkle this video so other people can see what we do here. Guys, have a wonderful day, and we will see you all tomorrow.